United States government has approved $32.5 in humanitarian aid to address the worsening hunger crisis in Nigeria. This funding, announced by the U.S. Agency for International Development on Wednesday, targets internally displaced persons and vulnerable populations in conflict-affected regions, particularly in Nigeria's northeast and northwest. The aid aims to provide essential food assistance and nutritional support to over 760,000 people, including pregnant and breastfeeding women and children facing severe malnutrition. This significant intervention comes as Nigeria suffers from a deepening humanitarian emergency fueled by ongoing insurgency, economic instability, and climate-related disasters. Northern Nigeria is locked in what the World Food Programme has called an unprecedented hunger crisis, with over 1.3 million people at risk of starvation and potential closure of critical nutrition clinics. In states like Borodu, the World Food Programme's Regional Director for West Africa, Margot Venda Velden, highlighted in July 2025 that global aid reductions, including from the United States, have forced suspensions of food assistance in several crisis-stricken countries, worsening the plight of millions. The $32.5 million from the United States will fund food distributions, electronic food vouchers, and specialized nutritional programs, including complementary nutrition for 41,569 pregnant and breastfeeding women and 43,235 children. These efforts seek to stabilize those most at risk by addressing immediate hunger and preventing life-threatening malnutrition. All right, Mr. Due Process, what do you make of this? Nigeria, giant of the nation, and yet receiving aid from countries outside the world. What do you think, what comes to your mind when you saw this piece of information?
It's very appalling, and it's embarrassing that the giant of Africa, most populous country on the face of the earth, not figures, right? Nigeria, at the moment, we have a fertile soil, we have abundant uncultivated soil. We have no business with depending on foreign aid. But because of ravaging insecurity that have been watched over like a cinema by the ruling party, the ruling government, one Abacha said, should an insecurity persist for 24 hours, the government have an army. I mean, you can't convince me otherwise. You have the air, you have the land, you have the police, the military, the intelligence, the NIA, the DSS, all these are just there to frustrate the poor man on the street that is tired of hunger and is demanding for protest. Instead of focusing on providing security for the people of Nigeria, rather they are focused on having intelligence on when protests will hold or otherwise. This is how we reduce the country where we've ranked so highly on the ranking of terrorism globally. Nigeria is dragging the #1 spot. This wasn't the country I was born into. This is not the country I ever dreamt to live in. We frustrated everything, leading to ravaging food crisis. Ravaging food crisis, not that the land became infertile, but because the farmers cannot have access to their farmland anymore. Bandits are here otherwise brandished as, the terrorists are here otherwise brandished as bandits. They are collecting taxes, levies from farmers. Sometimes they get them kidnapped and demand for ransom. At the end of the day, some farmers go to farm, they cultivate, they till the land, they cultivate everything. When it is time for harvesting, bandits will take over the farmland. This is what is happening. Obvious reality. There is total government disconnect from the people. The government is not there to serve our priorities. Our primary responsibility, the government has failed. The primary responsibility of every government is to provide security. There is no security in Nigeria. Of course, you understand. The Fulanis, on the other hand, destroy the farmland with their cow. Sometimes you will spend millions of naira to till the land. Pay workers, carry out a lot of labor on the farmland. And at the end of the day, the whole farmland gets destroyed overnight. You go to the police give you stories that you should have arrested the cow. How can a farmer arrest a cow when the Fulani is there with all the needed arms and ammunition to carry out mayhem? So that's where we are. Nigerian government is not serious. Nigerian government is deliberately causing whatever it is that is happening in this country. And until we have a government of the people, we are not going to make progress. I've always said it, give APC Tinubu the next 100 years, they can only do worse. They can only go higher in dismantling their own record and setting a fresh record of failure. Because look at where we are today. Benue, Niger, Plateau, these are the key agricultural hub of the country. These three states are under massive insecurity as expected. So how can there be food? There can be enough food. We continue to run into hunger. The government, on the other hand, is not supporting the local farmers. All these agricultural, whatever it is, that are scheme that are coming up with, it ends up in the pockets of the politicians. It did not really get to the direct beneficiaries, which are the farmers. They don't get fertilizers at when due. They don't get any form of government funding to be able to support their farming. This whole thing, we don't really know. As it is, there is no government in Nigeria. All we have is a charade of criminals who are occupying the Aso Rock and creating propaganda per seconds in order to justify their peanuts that they are being paid. Look at Bola. Virtually everything is said against Bola Tinubu. Today is there, whitewashing. These are people without shame, without honor, without integrity. As at 2023, you destroy every form of image of Bola Tinubu. Then after the election, you are recruited as an aide. You now start whitewashing. I don't know how some people have not so that they have no honor in their words. The words of an individual, every man, every woman should try as much as possible to honor their words. I mean, we cannot take the words of the government serious anymore because it's all propaganda, it's all lies. Even the president is a lying machine himself. Recently, he posted a statistics, was criticized by the Nigerian people, he had to pull it down. Why? That is the highest form of propaganda. That's what we are facing. So, the hunger can only get worse because I have not seen anything that is done deliberately to quell the hunger. The US, on the other hand, providing aid. We don't need aid as a country. We need a committed government. If the US really want to help Nigeria, they should guarantee free, fair, and credible election. If they cannot serve that purpose, they are useless to the African ways. So we don't need aid. All we need is free, fair, credible election. We don't need all that. The millions of dollars that have been sent to Nigeria will end up in politicians' pockets. It will never get to the average man on the streets. Never. Quote me anywhere. This money will not go anywhere. There are thousands of NGOs in Borno, in Yobe, in Adamawa, in Niger, and all that. They are just there pretending to be doing something, but in reality, doing nothing. They dole out millions of dollars into their accounts. They are there for a different purpose. There are allegations that even these NGOs are directly involved in sponsoring whatever it is that is spoiling the insecurity in the country today. I mean, how can I believe otherwise? Having over 1,000 NGO in the Northeast alone, what is their effect? What are they doing? So the African race is directly facing extermination of the West. The West want to exterminate the Africa. Otherwise, I see no need for funding diverse NGOs in Africa. And you cannot even for once stand for free, fair, and credible election. Without free, fair, and credible election, Europe would not be where they are today. Why can't they support the cause in Africa? Why? That's my question. So if the US, if Donald Trump is truly interested in liberating Africa, he should be interested in free, fair, and credible election. Anything outside this is a total waste of time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diop-Process. Mr. Ibrahim.
Mr. Tuchukurafel, you know, for me, I'll keep on saying this. It's a slap on our face, $32 million to Nigerian government as aid. For what? Like, there are a lot of things that needs to be uncovered in this country. And in the lot of showboating by these pretenders who pretend to care for African lives, and so on and so forth. And our leaders are the ones who sell Africa. They sold us to these people, and we don't have any value to them. We are just a bunch of people, savages, barbaric people who are living in a very beautiful landscape with animals. We are coexisting with animals. That's the mentality of the Europeans and the Americans towards Africa. The savage set of people that are killing each other always. Africa, according to them, is a place where chaos hells sway. But in reality, it is what our leaders accept. I used to say it's freedom is not a gift given. It is a state's aim through struggle and persistence. And I don't believe that anybody is going to save us in Nigeria. We are going to save ourselves. The time that we decide we want to save ourselves, it is the time that we're going to get it right. Because how can we even put our faith on the hands of those who have been consistently inconsistent? For example, the same European countries, the same United States of America supported the apartheid regime in South Africa. They gave them weapons to fight the native Black South Africans. It was clearly not about morality. It was about their interests at the time. All of a sudden, when the South Africans, the native South Africans won, they supported them again. Today, they are calling Nelson Mandela one of the heroes of the 21st century, while their leaders supported the apartheid regime against him. At that time, the Western world designated ANC as a terrorist organization. You see the inconsistency in their stance. It is always about who wins to them. They don't care about anybody's life. They don't care about what you stand. At the long run, it is the end that justifies the means to them. And when you win, they will come for their own economic gains. And how can we even trust the people who boldly and clearly said, we are the ones sponsoring ISIS, Boko Haram, and Al-Qaeda, just to destabilize the system of the people there? How can we put our faith and trust on them? Again, the same people that said the same humanitarian organizations are the ones giving terrorist organizations the weapons and the money they need to carry on their terror. The same people that has been consistently inconsistent on their stance, on their moral grounds, and so whatsoever. They are the ones we believe in. They are the ones we are always looking for solution from. I believe Africa is only going to be free when Africans decided we want to be free, when we start thinking differently. I mean, Professor Patrick Lumumba rightly said that any people that cannot feed themselves, that are always looking, that are always waiting for others to feed them, any people that cannot think for themselves, that are always looking for solution from others, will become slaves either willingly or by force. So we are like that until we start thinking about solving our stomach infrastructure by at least feeding ourselves, and also by fixing our mental infrastructure, by thinking for ourselves. There is no genuine liberty. We can never attain genuine liberty while we are constantly looking for solutions from those who doesn't care about us. All they care about is their own economic gains. I mean, European countries have shown us time and again. How are we going to rely on them? No, we aren't going to rely on them. Africa holds 70% of the mineral resources that the whole world have. By mineral resources, Africa is astronomically clear of any other continent in the world. I mean, recently in Kaduna State, they realized $12 trillion reserve of platinum. Don't forget, we have one of the largest gold reserves in Zamfara and Osun states. We have oil and gas. We have virtually everything, human and material, but we don't have leadership. And the people are so myopic, so gullible, that every time we think about religious sentiment and tribal bigotry, how do you expect us to be free? Like Africa, I don't know if at all there is a chance, if at all. But if there is any chance, it is Africans that will decide that we have everything in common. Everything. Because if you leave Nigeria today and went to the United States of America, they don't care you don't know South Africa. They don't care you don't know Namibia. Maybe if you go to South Africa, you'll be lynched because you are Nigerian because of xenophobia. They don't care about that. They don't care you don't know Ghana. If anything happening in Morocco, they will still hold you accountable. You are an African. You have a black skin. Can't you see? There's something wrong with you. Your skin is black. Man, that's the only thing they see about you. Not the God you serve, not what you believe in. And that's the problem. We are not seeing the root cause of the problem. We'll just be going to them. This problem, my brother, a serious problem.
Well, thank you very much. It's really appalling. When you were saying this, I was almost feeling tearful because it is, I can't see why a nation that has oil and gas, mineral resources, vast lands, can be seeking refuge or aid from developed countries. And they call it free will, as some headlines from some media organizations call it free will donations or free donations. Are these donations really free? Don't you think that the United States might indirectly or somehow seek to, gain something in return from Nigeria without the knowledge of the people? So I don't see this aid as free, totally free, because they will always seek something in return from us and even exploit us more than the aid that they have given us or they will give us. So it is not a free will donation as some newspapers would have it. Anyway, let's take our last story.
Yeah, it's not even your own opinion, Mr. Otrasin. That's the fact, because we've been suffering because of what's the World Bank policy and what's the name of the organization again that give borrow Nigeria funds. So it was always about coercing Africans, coercing us to be puppets of the West, most especially the United Nations General Assembly and their policies across the globe. It was never free. Once they give it on the shining lights of the camera, they receive what is more on the shadows. That's the reality.
All right. Right, Mr. Ibrahim Omar Wase and Mr. Ako Christian Oche, convener, Due Process Integrity Vanguard. Thank you for your contribution and your time.
Thank you.
All right, this is where we put a halt on this program. Viewers, if you love this program, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments on the topics we discuss, and then share this video. Of course, DDM Morning Show is always coming to you from Monday to Friday. We shall be here next week for a fresh edition of DDM Morning Show. From me, Tochku Raphael, it is bye-bye.